Hello, my name is Annika and welcome back to the Sewing Nook. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some DIY gift ideas. For this project, you will need some main material, some lining, some batting, and a 13-inch zipper. Start by cutting two 13 by 10-inch rectangles from your main piece of material. Do the same for the batting. Now you can use iron-on batting, but I don't have any on hand, so I'm going to sew mine down to my fabric, and I'm going to make kind of diamond shapes. So I'm going to draw a dot on the top, 4 inches in, and then draw a diagonal line, and then draw lines based off that one every 3 inches apart. Once I finish that side, I'm going to come back and draw a line going the other way. And I kind of just eyeballed it, but then after I did that one, same thing, 3 inches apart. Then put your main piece on top of the lining face up and pin inside each diamond. This will make it easier when we're sewing to keep our fabric straight. Increase your stitch length by 2 since we'll be sewing batting. Then sew across each line. Once you've done that, take all the pins out and repeat for the other one. Spray some water where you used your water erasable pen and then give it a good press. Now put your lining face up, your zipper face up, and your main piece face down. Then sew across using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Give it a press, then repeat for the other side, lining face up, zipper face up, and main piece face down. Sew that together, then give it all a good press. Next, top stitch along both sides of the zipper. Next, cut out one 7 by 2 inch rectangle from your main piece of material. Fold it in half, right sides together, give it a press, and then sew across the bottom. Turn it right side out, give it a good press, and then do a top stitch on each side. Give it a press, and then cut it in half. Then for the bag, take the 2 top pieces and the 2 lining and put them together, and then sew across the top of each of them, making sure to leave a gap in the lining that's about 3 inches. Press both seams open. Then use a seam ripper and make sure you have at least 1 inch away from the edge that's not attached to the zipper. Then put your materials so that your zipper and seam match up, making sure that your zipper is at least halfway open. Flip it over, and then we're going to start with the main piece, so we need to get the lining out of the way. So take some pins and just pin it up. Then take one of the tabs that we made earlier, fold it in half, and put it in between the zipper and the seam. Then sew it together with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure you don't sew the lining. Trim any of the excess. Do the same on the other side, and it is a little bit more finicky since the zipper's open, but just use a few more pins. Then sew it down again with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Trim the edges. Now we're going to do the lining, so this time pin the main material back and out of the way. Pin the lining and then sew across with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure you don't stitch over the main material. Repeat for the other side. Trim up the edges a little bit and then give it all a good press. Now on the sides, you need to measure 2 inches in and draw a line in the middle, and do this on the lining as well. Then pull the corner apart and make that line that you drew line up with the seam. And draw a line across that measures approximately 4 inches. Repeat for all 8 corners and sew across that line. Now where the lining and the main piece line up, you're going to need to hand sew it down. Once you've done that, press all your seams and then clip all the corners. Your bag should look something like this. Now turn it right side out through the hole in the lining. Then sew the opening in the lining closed. Press the seam and use your fingers to push out the corners, and then your beautiful boxy bag is complete. Now for some matching scrunchies. I'm going to use the material I used for the main part of the bag, the lining, and then some soft leggings. Start by cutting 2 rectangles that measure 27 by 5 inches from each of your 3 materials. Fold it in half lengthwise, right sides together, and stitch across the shorter end with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press the seam open, then with right sides together, take one of the sides and roll it up so it's out of the way, and then take the one underneath it and fold it over, and then sew it down, making sure you don't sew the one that you rolled up. As you're sewing, you'll have to stop every few inches to pull some more fabric through. Do this until you're 2 inches away from where you started. Then cut a piece of elastic about 9.5 inches long. Then, using a bodkin or a safety pin, thread the elastic through your scrunchie. Once you've got it through, tie the 2 ends into a knot. Now find that 2-inch opening and pull your scrunchie right side out. Then sew the hole closed. Now your scrunchie is done. Repeat for the rest. And then something I thought was nice is taking a little bit of lace and tying a bow around each pair. For the eye mask, you'll need a main material, preferably silk, some batting, and some elastic. This is the measurement of the eye mask pattern that I made. Cut 2 of the pattern pieces from your main material. Then cut a rectangle that measures 30 by 2 inches, also from your main material. Trace your template onto the batting, and then trace about 1/4 inch inwards. Fold the long strip right side together, and then sew it. Then using one of these, turn it right side out. Give it a good press. Then take a piece of 1/4 inch elastic that's 15 inches long and thread it through. Stitch across each side to keep the fabric and elastic together. Then put one sleeping mask face up, the scrunchie piece, and then another face mask face down, so it's right sides together. Pin all of that in place and then sew all the way around, making sure to leave a 2.5 inch gap at the top. Give it a press and then clip anywhere where there's a curve and then pull it right side out. Then insert the batting through the opening in the top and stitch the opening closed. Give it a press, and your sleeping mask is complete. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.